hope that you see the stack of books beside me because that's kind of setting the theme for the video. Hello everyone, today I'm going to be doing finally another favorite books video. Basically, I'm just going to be talking about a few books I've recently read. What is this piece of hair doing? Please, please. And I have read a lot recently because I have been, when things happen and you're like kind of sad or down, it's so nice to escape to another world. And that's why I've been reading so much. I love reading about another person's life, another fictional character. So I have been reading a lot lately and I wanted to share with you guys some of my favorites. I am saving the best for last, so definitely stay tuned till the end to hear about one of my favorite books that I've ever read, ever. So let's get started with this book favorites video slash books I recently read. Okay, so I have 5 books here, so let's get started right away. The first book is A Complicated Kindness by Miriam Tays. I do not have the dust cover on right now because I actually I have like about 50 pages left and I don't think I'm going to finish this book. I think if I read this in another time that I would be more inclined to finish it, but at this very moment, reading a book like this has made me not the happiest, and I have a hard time reading it because it's basically about a young girl who lives in a Mennonite town, and if you don't know Mennonite, Google it. Yeah, Google it. Basically, it's kind of like a religious thing. So she has basically been abandoned by her sister, and she's also been abandoned by her mom, and now she just lives with her dad. And in my opinion, this book is basically just about this girl trying to find ways to kind of stay away from her own like unhappiness in a way, and she does a lot of like smoking pot, she does a lot of drinking, she does a lot of illegal things. She has this really weird relationship with her boyfriend, and I have a hard time reading it because I feel like she's just setting herself up for failure, and she's extremely negative. And if I did not like the situation I was in, I would try my best to get myself out of it, and I don't feel like she's doing that. So I'm going to put this one down for now, and if I feel more in the mind frame for something like this, I'll pick it up again. But for now, a little too negative for me. If you've read this and you loved it, why? Help me. So not a favorite. Moving on up. This book here, I can't believe I didn't mention this while I was reading it. I might have actually, but this is The Invention of Wings by Sue Monk Kidd. Again, dust cover is not on it right now because someone is reading it in my house. This is this is about slavery, and basically it takes on, I think, 2 different perspectives. One of them is the young white daughter of a very wealthy family, and one of them is a young black slave who lives with this family, and her mother is one of their slaves slash kind of housekeeper, but they have like 10 slaves or whatever. And it's about basically this young girl's journey through life, and it follows both of them through childhood when they had a good relationship to growing up where this young white girl had expectations to be, living a certain life, and she goes against her family and tradition and doesn't want a slave and doesn't want to have slavery, and ends up actually becoming sort of a voice for like anti-slavery and everything like that. And then it also follows this young black woman who is attempting to kind of change her life in order to give her children something more, give her family something more. Not that she has children, but maybe, you never know. So this was such a touching novel. I didn't really get the title until the very end, The Invention of Wings, and to me it's amazing. If you want to read a good book, it has moments of being very harsh, so if you can't handle that, definitely just be aware that that happens in this book. But this is one of my favorite books that I've read recently for sure, and this author also wrote The Secret Life of Bees, which I'm sure some of you guys have heard of because it was a movie, and it's also one of her most popular books. It is, I think, her most popular book. So yes, this was awesome. I definitely recommend this if you want to try something different and new and fun. Not fun. It's not really fun. It's kind of negative, but that's okay. Next, another one of my favorite books that I've read ever. This is We Are All Completely Beside Ourselves by Karen Joy Fowler. I feel like I talked about this in a favorites video, maybe, but basically it's about this young woman who kind of is telling her story of childhood and growing up and why she is the way she is, basically. I do not want to give anything away with this because I think it's something that you should figure out for yourself and kind of read as you go. This is such a touching book. It doesn't really have a like sad ending. It doesn't have a happy ending. It's kind of inconclusive in a way, but it's also like just, it puts you to rest where you're not like, after you read the book, you're like, what the heck happened to the characters? No, it's not like that. You do get a conclusion, but it's not like the happiest conclusion. So I definitely recommend this, especially for those of you who are animal lovers, which this talks a lot about animal testing, which I am very passionate about, and it is hard to avoid using products a lot of the time, especially if you want to try to be using more affordable products. It can be challenging. It can be challenging to use products that haven't been tested on animals, which I think is so bad and messed up. But definitely check this out if you are interested in that and to hear this woman's interesting story. Another favorite book of mine from forever. Like, I love it. Next, again, another one without a dust cover. This is the Orenda by Joseph Boyden. This took me a really long time to read because it is a bigger book, but also I was in the middle of finals. I kind of didn't think I liked the book in the beginning. I was kind of like, I don't really know how I feel about this, but by the end I really, really loved it. Now, this book I talked about in my April favorites, I think, and this is about a native group in Canada, and it's from like the 1800s when France was first starting to come to Canada and settle and claim and all this stuff. And I love history. I love Canadian history, and I love learning about First Nations, Aboriginal people. I think it's just so interesting. So that's basically what this follows. It follows a couple people's perspectives. It follows a young girl, a young native girl. It follows a leader of a native tribe, and then it also follows a religious white man from France, basically, and how it all comes together. It's very interesting, very harsh though. The native groups were very mean to each other, and they were very brutal. If they caught one another, like, they would torture them for days on end, and you do read about that, which I simply found it interesting. I didn't like take it like, oh my gosh, this is nasty, which it is nasty, but it is interesting. So definitely check this out if you're interested in Canadian history, and if you're not Canadian, it's a great story. And it's very different from anything that I've read. I love books with different perspectives, and so this was awesome. Actually, half the books that I've shown you so far have been from more than one person's perspective, and I love that. So that's that. Now, the last book I'm going to talk about has been one of the most amazing books that I have read recently, and probably one of my favorite books that I've ever read. My family recommended this to me. It's been out for 20 plus years, and my family said, or my parents both were like, you will love this or you will hate it. And I was like, alright. So this is the Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver, and if you aren't religious, don't get kind of afraid of the Bible part. I know sometimes when people who are like aren't religious, kind of like they see something with the word Bible in it and they're like, oh my goodness, that's religious, I don't want to touch that or whatever. This is very interesting because it follows a family from Georgia in the 1960s, I believe, going to Africa for a mission trip. So if you don't know, missionaries travel all around the world, spreading the word of God, you know, converting people to Christianity, all that stuff. And this family basically does that by going to Africa and going to the Congo. Africa, I don't know a lot about, I'm not gonna lie. But reading this book really opens your eyes. I mean, I obviously know that there are people in other countries who don't have food and water and everything like that. I'm aware of that. But to me, it's just so crazy. This book deals with not only religion, but also politics, and just even more than that. So this book is amazing. I could kind of relate to it myself in a way, but I could also sort of, it was so interesting to read from these people's perspectives. And it follows the mom's perspective and then the 4 daughters' perspectives. So there's 2 twins, or there's a set of twins, And then there's the older daughter and the younger daughter, and it's just so interesting to see how they adjust to life from Georgia to Africa, where they are hungry all the time, where they don't have clean water, where they have to basically fight to stay alive. And it is heartbreaking, but it also has a very happy ending for me. In the ending, I did not feel like, oh my goodness, this is so sad. I was sad because the book was over and I wanted to keep reading, but I was like, this is such a good book. I loved the ending. I loved the story. I love the character development. This is an amazing, amazing book. If you want a new book to read, pick this one up. And Oprah also liked it. It was part of the Oprah's book club, so you know what I'm saying? So that's basically everything. Those are some of my favorite books that I've read recently, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below if you have any other video suggestions or if you have any book suggestions, because I'm thinking I might read The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, but I'm like terrified because everyone I've talked to about it says they just bawl their eyes out, and you know, I don't really need to cry anymore. So yeah, that's basically it. I hope you guys had a great day, and I will see you all soon. Bye!